Hashem sends Moshe Rabbeinu on a mission to save the Jewish people, to save them from suffering and slavery and poverty, all of this, to take them out, to redeem them. Moshe Rabbeinu goes to Pharaoh. He attempts to fulfill his mission. And Pharaoh says, just for that, I'm going to make things worse. I'm going to make things much worse. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that it's not going to be easy to take the Jews out. He knew that it's going to take time and effort. But what he didn't expect was that it's going to get worse. That threw Moshe Rabbeinu off even. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't expecting that. Tichbad hu avoida. Now they're going to have to make their own straw. And this caused Moshe Rabbeinu to do something which the Gemara says even an ordinary Jew should never ever do. Never complain to Hashem. Never say these words, Hashem, why are you being bad to me? That's what Moshe Rabbeinu said, Loma harei oiso loma zeh. Hashem, why are you doing ra to the Jewish people? Who are you talking to? You're talking to Hashem. And this is Moshe Rabbeinu talking. How in the world could Moshe Rabbeinu come to say such words, Loma harei oiso? The answer is because when we go through things, the tests that we go through in life in this world, there are times that it looks that way to a person. So why did Hashem do that? Why, show me where the good is in this. The Gemara gives many explanations. One of the explanations the Gemara gives is that we know that the Jews were supposed to be in Egypt for 400 years. The original decree was 400 years. Hashem ended up allowing Pharaoh to make things worse, to make them work harder, and with that Hashem was able to deduct 190 years from their sentence. Picture a person has a mortgage on a house. A person buys a house and they go to the bank and the bank says you're going to be paying this mortgage for 30 years. And most people aren't that happy to hear 30-year mortgage. Well, what can I do? I have no other choice. And they're paying their $500 a month or whatever it is. And suddenly they get a call from the bank and the guy comes in and says, listen to me, I have a deal for you. That if you'll simply add $200 a month more, instead of $500, you pay $700. Instead of paying out the mortgage for 30 years, we're going to cut it in half. You interested in doing it? Most rational people would jump at such an opportunity if they could. The Gemara says that the Jews were in Egypt when Hashem came to take us out. After he deducted the 190 years, had we been there for one more second, the timing was such that if we would have stayed there for one more second, we would have been there permanently. We never would have gotten out. We and our children and our grandchildren would still be in Egypt. Picture a person coming to you and saying, you have a mortgage. We're giving you a reduced rate on the mortgage. Instead of $500, you're going to pay $300 a month, but the $300 is eternal. You, your kids, for all generations are going to keep paying. Or pay $500 a month and you're out in 10 years. Or $700 a month and you're out in 2 years or 1 year. Most people would jump. Which person wants to stick his children and grandchildren with payments? People like to give their grandchildren gifts, not to stick them with debts. So here we see that what Hashem was doing was really an incredible gift. But unfortunately, when we're going through things sometimes, it doesn't look that way. It looks terrible. We know that the Torah is comprised of 4 different components. The letters are the lowest level. Then you have the crowns on the letters. That's the next level. Then you have the 3rd level, which is the vowels. And the 4th level, the highest level, the musical notes. The pasuk in the Torah, which talks about Hashem embittering our lives, making the exile in Egypt worse, it says, Vayemoraru es chayehem, that the Egyptians embittered our lives. Things got much worse. The musical notes on those 2 words, Vayemoraru es chayehem, are Kadma v'azla. Kadma v'azla in Aramaic means to leave before. Azla means to go out. Kadma means prior to, before. That the reason why their lives were made bitter were so that they could leave earlier. How much earlier? Let's take a look at these 2 words. Kadma, Kuf Dalid Mem Aleph, is 145. The word Vi'azla, Vav is 6, Aleph is 1, is 7, Zayin is another 7, is 14, Lamed is 44, and an Aleph is 45. 145 plus 45 is 190. As a result of Hashem embittering their lives, making the exile a little harder, that made it possible for them to get out 190 years earlier. This is an example even in the case of Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest of tzaddikim. Sometimes we see things happening that it looks terrible, it looks bad, but we have to be extremely careful to judge Hashem favorably, to know that Hashem is only good and only doing it for the best. And in terms of me knowing what I deserve, based on what I deserve, forget it. I have no right to ask or demand, just to plead for kindness, just to beg Hashem, you know what's really best for me. Please do what's best for me and give me the ability to realize that it's best for me.